had a chance to sit down and talk virtually over Zoom with Plymouth State head coach Craig Russell and get his reactions to the end of last season, the historic moment of winning back-to-back conference titles on the MASCAC, the first program in the MASCAC to be able to do that. Also, how special this senior class is to him in this program, and a look ahead to the future of Plymouth State men's hockey. Hello, Panther Nation, and welcome to this virtual Coach's Corner, as I'm now joined by Plymouth State men's ice hockey head coach Craig Russell. Coach, as always, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Dan.
A long break since you guys last were on the ice, 342 days since that MASCAC championship. Looking back on last year, you're the first program in the MASCAC to win back-to-back conference titles. What does that mean to you and to last year's team as you continue to set the foundation for this program moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something we really talked about at various points last season is, we wanted to be that. We wanted to be the first ones to accomplish that. We were the first one to get the automatic bid back in 2012. And that meant a lot to us back then. And that really kind of set our culture to be what it has been and what it was last year and what it has grown into this year. So definitely something we talked about. Glad we could accomplish it. Too bad the season, ended the way that it did, obviously. And looking back on it, it's no questioning that it was the right decision to make for everybody. But, I think that just gave us a little bit more motivation coming into this year as a pretty hefty returning group, not a lot of new guys this year, and really how young we were last year and where we got to by the end of the year. I thought we were playing our best hockey, and I think that has given us motivation through this long off season to show what we can do once the puck drops this year. So looking at this season, obviously, we can't go with a three-peat, and that's fine. We can't control that. What we can control is our development, our attitudes. And I think at the end of the day, we're just really grateful to have this opportunity, and a huge thank you to the athletic department and to Plymouth State University for supporting us in this.
Talking about the youth from last year, let's look at this year's core group and who really steps up for you that you've seen so far during the long, quote unquote, preseason that you've had. And who are some of the players in addition with that? I've got to fill those roles from last year's senior class that was so dominant on the score sheet.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really loaded question. I don't look at this group and see a certain line that's going to carry us, or a certain defensive pair, or even a goalie that's just going to be a Mr. every day. I think we are probably more this year than ever are some of our parts. I look at the returning group. I see our senior class really stepping into a leadership role and really flourishing in that. And that's some of those guys I couldn't play anymore. I can't play Jake Gerbner anymore than I have the last couple of years, but he has now taken on a leadership role and has really done a great job of that. Brett Backman, same thing. Peter Laviolette, same thing. It's hard to play those guys more than they played last season. We will do our best to get those guys on the ice as much as possible, because those are three guys that are really the nucleus for this team, which is why all three of them are wearing letters this year. But I think, looking at some other returners, I could go up and down our sheet and I could tell you so many positives about each guy. What I expect them to do. And at the end of the day, it's going to be results driven, and it's going to be a small sample size from this year looking into next. We already know that a couple of our seniors are going to come back because they've been able to save this year of eligibility. So we're really excited for that, to get another year with them to further their development. But, I think those guys for sure. I think guys like Leo, Stolpa, we should, see healthy this year and ready to make an impact, or a bigger impact, I should say. Miles Abbott, stronger now, just a lot more confident, ready to continue what he did last year. And his line mates, they've all stayed together actually. And Mike McPherson and J.R. Barone, those three are going to be together on a line still. Jacob Lauren, real heavy center to play against. Marcus Seidel, just a heavy up and down the ice winger. we mentioned Brett Backman. Just Brett is actually going to play with Jacob and Leo on that line, and he's really finding another level to his game playing with them. And I think he's really pushing them to be better, which is exactly what a leader should do. On the defensive end, we see Simone Besner being able to step up and play a larger role. Ben Chipman, same thing. Ted Austin has, just continued to impress with his calm demeanor on the back end. We've got some newcomers that we do expect to play, some heavy minutes on the blue line, but again, it's going to be results driven, and they're going to have to take every opportunity they get and run with it. And they've been great in practices; they've been wonderful. Brendan Brawley trimmed down much faster, much more confident. He looks great in between the pipes, and he's really being pushed by Callie Anderson, who is also being pushed by Brendan, and they are just really learning from each other, different styles of goalies, but both of them are very good in their own right. And Ben Parker's been injured off and on, but every time he gets on the ice, he's just a workhorse, and just really pushes everybody to be better, and is just the quintessential glue guy that this locker room needs and this team needs. So I could talk about everybody, Dan. I'm sorry, but
no, it's quite all right.
We don't have
so much depth for you.
We just don't have a guy or a small group of guys that we're going to say like they need to do this, like the Ryan Stevens and the Matt Volanino and Michael Kovac line that we had a couple of years ago. We don't have that. I think we're better off for that because it's going to be whoever's hot that night, and they're going to get the heavier minutes.
You mentioned earlier the seniors, and earlier tonight we had the senior night ceremony with a message from the seniors during the pregame show. With this senior group, you said some are coming back for next year with the waiver this year from the NCAA. But what has this group done, especially in the offseason with COVID, going into the preseason this year, question mark on if this season wasn't even going to happen? How have they stepped up leadership-wise for you?
This was immediate. And it was them as a group. It's not just one of them. There's five. There's five seniors. They are the most inclusive group that we've ever had, meaning that they were able to take their role as seniors and really just make sure that these new players are feeling welcomed. And it's not that hasn't happened in the past, but with the climate of everything and what's going on and the uncertainty surrounding every day of every aspect of every day, really, they were able to just get the guys together, really get them comfortable, make sure they knew their way around campus, make sure they knew where to go for anything, make sure they knew who to talk to on campus if they had a question on a class, or even looking at class registrations for the spring. Back in November when we did that, they were right on top of things with these new players, and just what I see in the dynamic of this group is very impressive. Just the way that they come to the rink every day with a smile on their face, get out there, and we battle hard some days, and they love it. They hate it, and then they love it the minute that the practice is over. Every day I get, a good practice coach. Thanks, coach. Like, I get a lot of just gratitude from this whole group. And I think that's really due to what our senior class has done and how they've included everybody, and not just our team. I think they've been more inclusive of the community, and as much as possible anyway, and other teams, and just really trying to be leaders on campus in a time where this world needs that. And I think they've done a great job. I really hope that we get an opportunity to show, on the ice what these guys can do, because I think it's going to only lead to positives for this group.
Looking ahead to this shortened season, a 12-game sprint for you guys here in 2021, a majority of the games as of now against Anna Maria. Are you continuing your systems that you started to develop last year with the aggressiveness in the offensive zone and how you rotated on the defensive side? Or is it kind of a whole new scheme for this year's team?
No, I think it's been a lot of the same. I think offensively, I think my philosophy is changing a little bit. I don't know if it's changing, it's shifting. And we've been really working on it, and it's really hard for, honestly, the upperclassmen. It's been the most difficult for them because old habits die hard. And Brett Backman said it best. He said, "Coach, we've been doing the same the same thing for 3 years. And now we're going kind of in the opposite direction with some stuff, and it's going to take us some time. And I was like, you know what? That's a really good point. And, the newer guys, they don't know any different. Like, they're just going to get out there and do what's asked of them, but they don't have a habit. They just want to get out there and execute. And the older guys know a little bit too much. And that's been really fun. It's been fun to watch us kind of offensively kind of see what those things are going to do for us. And hopefully, we're able to see a little bit of it tonight. But I think defensively, we've really had a concentration with just being more aggressive and understanding more about the system that we've been running. And I think just little tips and cues as to where to go aggressive and when you can't. And I think the guys have really bought into that. And I think they're understanding of it. I mean, we've basically done that 3 to 4 days a week for the past few weeks and done it really well. And I think, the positive reinforcement throughout the practices when it's happening well, really shows what the benefits are when we do execute it well. So tonight's going to be a whole different speed. It's going to be the first game for both clubs. We're both going to be fired up and ready to go. So we're going to have to control our emotions and, stay within our systems and be disciplined with those. And I think if we do that, I think we're going to be able to do some stuff.
Talk about tonight's matchup with Anna Maria. You faced them for the first time in program history last year, back in December, just before the holiday break, and it was a 3-3 tie and a battle for you guys. Is there anything you can pull away from that game that you can use to your advantage here this evening?
Hoping their goalie doesn't have the night he had against us last year. He was unbelievable. He's in that tonight too, so we'll see. But I think Brendan Brawley really wants that game back. I think he didn't manage the game as well as he wanted to. And he knows it. We've talked at length about it. And just his renewed sense of confidence and less is more attitude has really made his game go to the next level. And so I think he's one guy that I look at tonight that I think will approach the game very focused and manage it. I think he'll manage this one well. They're a hardworking team. They've got a dynamite first line. Their special teams are really good. It's early season. It's anybody's game. I mean, I've said this for years that anybody can beat anybody early in the season. I like where we're at with the level that we're playing at, with the amount of experience that we were able to get our freshmen last season, so that coming into this year, it's almost like they were aging double the speed last year and developing at double the speed last year. So, seeing those guys come in this year and be confident and be ready and really want more of themselves and of this team, I think it's gonna push us to hopefully have another level as a team, as a group that we may have never had, and we'll see. I think some of the newcomers are adding different things, whether some are adding a speed element, some are adding a playmaking element or a scoring element, size. But I think at the end of the day, especially early on, this is really going to be dictated by the success of our returning players and how much they want it, and they've got to show the way. And I think tonight's going to be a big test for that, and I'm really looking forward to it. And tomorrow is going to be even bigger. I mean, we've got Anna Maria for 4 games in a row, so I mean that's going to create a little bit of a rivalry there, which is great. I have a lot of respect for their coach. I've known him for a long time. He gets his teams to play really hard, and they'll block a lot of shots. They'll do whatever it takes to win. And, I think we could take a little bit of a page out of that book and play a little bit more of that style as well, instead of trying to be finesse all the time. I think we've got to kind of add some of that blue collar mentality to our game.
Well, Coach, we'll see what happens, not only tonight, but the rest of this season. We thank you for your time, and we'll talk to you again next week.
All right, Dan, sounds great. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.